Hi, welcome to Good Work Now. You're probably noticing there's a big red package on the table, and someone has left us a gift here, and I'm going to look inside and see what it is. There's Mediterranean Mideast pastries. So this sounds really good. Can't wait to open it and see what that's all about. And there's a card in here too. And let me take a moment to look at the card. It says Good Work Now, Cast and Crew. And I'm going to read it. Open it up here. I don't know what this means yet. I haven't seen it yet. What terrific news. You really have something to celebrate. Congratulations. Best new show of 2009. Way to go, Dee Hansford. So this is for the cast and crew of Good Work Now for winning Best New Series in 2009 for Channel 17. Dee, thank you so much. That was such a nice gesture. And in the spirit of today's topic, which is all about employee recognition. So I'm going to clear away this distracting stuff. And thanks again on behalf of the cast and crew for helping us celebrate our achievement. And I'm pleased to welcome you to our show. Thanks so much for being on Good Work Now. And let me share a little bit about Dee's background. Former manager of cast communication and cast recognition at the Walt Disney World Resort before she formed her own consulting practice over 10 years ago. She's a founding board member of Recognition Professionals International. Dee is a noted author, sought-after speaker, coach, and highly rated trainer. She has helped numerous public and private sector organizations design and implement recognition and communication strategies that yield bottom-line results. Thank you so much for being here, Dee.
Thank you.
And what a wonderful background that come from Disney. I know that they're just renowned internationally for their recognition practices and their culture, their organizational culture. And today, Dee and I are going to talk about recognition. What is this thing called employee recognition? And how can you do it? And you don't need money to do recognition. And sometimes you do need money, but not always. And so we're going to talk about the different types of free recognition that you can do as a supervisor, as a leader, as a coworker to help make the work environment that much more positive and fulfilling. And let's start, Dee, with the first area. What is recognition?
That's a great question, and the simple answer is that it is simply acknowledgement. Acknowledgement and favorable recognition. You as a human being, I acknowledge you, I recognize you. And when we take that into the workplace, our association, I'll shorten it to RPI, we believe that the satisfaction of your people directly translates to the satisfaction of your customers. Some of us are nonprofits, some of us aren't driven by bottom line results, but we certainly are driven by customer satisfaction. And so when you can really look at how you treat your people, make sure that they feel valued and part of your organization, the results are amazing.
Okay. Why is recognition important?
Oh, I'll tell you why it's critically important. Lack of recognition is the #1 reason people leave an organization. 79% said beyond workload, beyond pay, not feeling valued is the reason they left.
Okay, so like they feel like they're invisible.
Exactly.
They don't feel like people know what they do or how they do it or when they do it, those kinds of things. Talk a little bit about the employers of choice, how they use employee recognition as a tool to improve the work environment.
I'd be happy to. You were very complimentary of Disney and the culture there, and I can speak from my perspective that people who are doing the line jobs, what I would call the unglam jobs, these are people who are scraping up gum on Main Street, taking care of the resort guests and so forth. They have some of what we would call the most unglamorous jobs, and yet they feel so valued. Disney has one of the lowest turnover rates in the hospitality industry. We all know how high that can be.
Exactly.
Disney's cast members stay with them 5, 10, 15, 20-something years and more because they feel part of that. They feel valued. Their work is important.
It's interesting, too, that they use the word cast member, not housekeeper, not street cleaner, not gum remover.
Exactly.
But that says something there as well, that they're a cast member has elevated their status as an employee.
They're part of a huge show.
Exactly.
And if they don't show up, if I don't mix my chemicals correctly and I'm a housekeeper, I have a financial and an operational impact on our show.
Let's go ahead now and talk a little bit about the how of employer recognition. What are some of the things that folks need to think about before they start a recognition program or before they start issuing some kind of recognition to employees? What are the starting points?
Absolutely. I think when we decide we're going to begin recognizing, one of our first impulses, if you will, is, well, we'll just design a program and, and what you really need to think about is foundational recognition, day-to-day recognition. If I don't know how to properly say thank you to you, Brian, and your crew, how can I begin to give you a higher level award? How can I ramp that up unless I know the absolute basics? So when we go into an organization, my first thought is to say, how can I help you all understand how important it is to be specific, sincere, and timely?
Okay, so those three things, specific, sincere, and timely. Sometimes I hear employees, when they receive oh, that's a good job, it becomes a bankrupt term.
It does. It's
empty, it's hollow, because it sounds robotic and artificial when the supervisor says, oh, good job, oh, good job. And they say it the same way with every employee, so it becomes very neutral, very generic, and it doesn't have any stuff behind it. So let's say, for example, that I think that you are doing a good job. Let's say that you're a production assistant here on Good Work Now. How might I think through being specific and sincere and timely? What might be an example or a way that I could, rather than saying good job, Dee, what might be a way I could twist it and meet those three criteria?
Absolutely. I think we could recognize Marge.
Oh, yes.
And we could say,
Marge is on camera 3, right behind me.
Yep. And you notice the care that Marge gave to me today when she was helping me put my mic on. She didn't just hurly-burly throw it on there. She wanted to be sure that it was not noticeable. She spent time with me. So if I were going to recognize Marge, I would say, Marge, I really appreciate the way you took care of our guest. It's a Disney term, but you would probably use that term as well. That you took care to make her look good on camera.
Right.
That you spent time with her, and really took the time to do that. The impact that it has is we have a good quality show.
Exactly.
That our guest feels comfortable and that she's properly mic'd, so the quality of our show. So the more you tie their behavior to the impact.
That's a great point. And actually, I'm so glad you pointed out Marge, because Marge is one of our regular volunteers. She shows up all the time, and she actually won an award herself for the best volunteer for Channel 17.
Absolutely.
So double duty here. Yay, Marge! Marge McCreary, camera 3. And JJ is on, Jemuel Johnson is on camera 1. And in the studio, behind the curtain, we have Dan and Tony doing audio. So it's a great crew. Dee, I want to thank you so much for being on the show.
Welcome.
And thank you again on behalf of the crew for the Mediterranean pastries. Very unique. Can't wait to try them.
I'll tell you that story afterwards.
Okay, all right. Let me go ahead and provide some contact information for Dee Hansford. First of all, her website, I love this, is deethanks.com. I thought that's very clever and very memorable. Dee, thanks, Dee. I had to say that. And her email address is deethanks@gmail.com. And also the Recognition Professionals International website is recognition.org. Lots of resources there, lots of information. And next week, we're going to talk about social networking. So please stay tuned for that. We're going to talk about Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and all these ways that you can promote your career or your business on the internet and electronically. So we hope you can stay tuned for that. Until next time, keep up the good work, and thank you so much for watching.